Morning everybody, it's Rob, Yoga Dad, and feels like quite an achievement to have got to this ninth day this morning. I'm sure many parents will appreciate. It feels like we've just been wading through treacle this morning with the boys, a little bit restless early morning, so class planning at 5 a.m. was pretty much interrupted most of the way through, and getting them out the door for nursery as well was a bit of a challenge. But thankfully I'm here now at 8:30. And we've got 15 minutes together this morning, and we are going to get started straight away. Okay, so find yourself into whatever position feels good to you to start the day. Maybe it's the laying position that we started in over the past few days with the knees knocking together. Maybe it's a cross-legged seated position. For me, I'm going to go back down towards my heels. I'm going to rest the tops of my feet down on the floor and just sinking the hips back. Now that can feel quite strong for a lot of people, particularly across the thighs, and maybe uncomfortable as well, just sinking the hips down towards the heels just generally. So maybe with the toes tucked under, if that feels uncomfortable, just to give yourself a bit of extra height. And then either way, taking yourself forward and lowering the head down towards the floor, and just resting the arms alongside the body, palms facing up towards the ceiling. So whatever position you find yourself in to start the session this morning, then just taking a moment just to settle in to this virtual space that we've got together for this next 15 minutes. And if, like me, you've found this morning to be particularly challenging, then just take a moment just to check in with your energy levels, even your ability to feel still or restless at this time of the day, and how by just hitting that pause button for the next 15 minutes or so, what difference that could make to your day. And whatever position you find yourself in, just really feel the body sinking down, grounding down towards the floor beneath you. While at the same time you open up across the body, maybe towards the ceiling if you're in a seated position. Feeling expansiveness across the room. Length all the way up towards the sky. And just taking a few breaths. Deepening the inhale and exhale. And each time feeling the body soften down. Inviting calm into the mind. And wherever you started this morning, now move yourself into an all fours position. So taking the hands out to shoulder distance apart, toes tucked under with the knees underneath the hips. And we'll just start by pressing down to all four corners of the palms, really feeling that connection. And as we do so now, inhaling to lift the head up, chin towards the ceiling, arching the spine, tailbone towards the ceiling. Chest forward. And exhaling to the chest, rounding the spine up, tucking the tailbone under. We'll do that 4 more times. Again, I invite you to close your eyes if it feels appropriate, if it feels comfortable. And just really feel the way in which the breath can integrate with the movement. Create space in the body to support muscle release. To lengthen and deepen the breath, maybe slow the breath down. And invite that single pointed focus as you concentrate on each feeling, sensation you're experiencing in the body. And the influence, impact that then has on your state of mind. Now lifting yourself back up into an all fours position with a head in a neutral position between the hands. And just slowly taking the hips now back towards the heels again. and slowly lifting forward. So shoulders back over the wrists and then back down. Do that once more. So inhaling as you lift up, exhaling hips back towards the heels, feeling that length now along the side body, all the way along the arms, down towards the hips. And then this time as we lift up, option to lift the head back up again, arching the spine, and exhaling, rounding the spine, and now back towards the hips again with the heels. Inhaling to lift and look up, pressing down through the palms, rounding the spine, and back again. Once more, inhaling, lift up. Each time just feeling that little bit more space created between each vertebrae along the full length of the spine. And then back up again into a neutral position. We'll take our hands that little bit further forward now than the shoulders, and we'll do the same again. So actually, no, we'll start off just by almost swinging our hips from side to side. Almost imagine it was slalom skiers. We're just inviting that little bit more movement, space that we're creating across the hips along the inner thighs. And then we bring it back to the centre again. Now options here are to then start with some circular or figure eight movements with the hips. And just really exploring the full range of movement that's available to you in the body. Just nice and slow with these movements. Really feeling every last sensation in the body. Maybe even inviting a deeper back bend. Sinking that deeper in towards the hips. Pressing down through the palms. I don't know about you guys, but I really need this morning. Slowing that pace down. Hitting that pause button. In slow motion movements, rather than always feeling like everything's moving in fast forward mode. Okay, it's back to an all fours position. Shoulders above the wrist. In fact, actually, we'll just take our hips back now. So still keeping the hands towards the top of the mat, right in front of the shoulders, and then just slowly lowering the hips back down towards the heels. So toes tucked under this time. Really feeling that connection again to all four corners of the palms. And feeling that maximised length now all the way along the side body. And really feel like the breath is filling that space. Now pressing down through the outer palms, just to subtly rotate the elbow creases up towards the sky, the ceiling, and enabling those upper arms just to fold away, fall away from the shoulders and the neck. Maybe resting the forehead down towards the floor. If that feels uncomfortable at all, just crossing the forearms over one another and just resting the forehead on the back of the wrists. And again, just allowing yourself to deepen into this stretch. Each time you inhale, feel like you're lifting up, almost levitating off the ground. And each time you exhale, just sinking down, body softening, chest falling down towards the floor, shoulder blades knitting in towards one another. And lifting yourself back up again. Just walking the hands back. So we take ourselves back into a kneeling position now. About 5 minutes. Okay. So we're going to lift ourselves up now, hips off the heels. We're going to take our hands now around the back, fingers pointing down towards the floor, and just supporting the lower back. And what we're going to do, we're going to take ourselves with our gaze facing forward, and we're going to just slowly look up towards the sky. Now we're just inviting a subtle back bend here, so shoulders rolling back towards the back of the room, elbows drawing in towards one another, and just keeping those lower ribs tucked in as much as possible. So really feel that lift coming from the chest and the heart region, and maybe even lifting that gaze up that little bit higher, deepening into the back bend, that extension for the spine, but also that more of an opening across the chest and the shoulders. And work for the abdominals as well, engaging and supporting the lower back. And lifting yourself back forward again, taking the hips back towards the heels, And we'll just take our arms actually back down alongside the body again, and just for a moment, just sinking the head down. And again, if that feels uncomfortable at all, then just using any support that you've got, dinosaur pillows, that type of thing, tucking the toes under, and then lifting yourself back up again. I'm going to take myself around now into a comfortable cross-legged position, so it doesn't matter which leg is out in front. As I said yesterday, I've got a couple of blocks here today, one of the thicker blocks actually. I'll just demonstrate just by going side on just for a moment. So if you've got a flatter block, and you could easily use a book, that type of thing, so a thick book, and just sitting yourself towards the front corner of that block just allows the knees just to fall down away from the hips, just to create that little bit more space across the hips and along the inner thighs. And yeah, I often use that when I'm teaching in my Yoga for Men classes, when many of my men, tight hamstrings, tight hips, that type of thing. Okay, so we're going to take one hand out to the side. We're going to reach our opposite arm up towards the sky, keeping that shoulder nice and relaxed away from the ear. Inhaling to lengthen, and exhaling just to fold across in the same direction as that lower hand. As I said yesterday, just being mindful of what's happening with that top shoulder. If it feels like it's rolling down, compressing that space across the chest, and just lifting that arm back up again. Feeling that length all the way along the side body, down towards the opposite hip. Maybe even looking up towards the ceiling, the sky above you. And then tapping the hands in the middle. Over towards the opposite side, exhaling as you fold across. Really feeling that length all the way from the fingers. Down towards the opposite hip. Inhaling as you lengthen. Exhaling as you deepen into the stretch. Back to the centre again. Both arms up and overhead this time, reaching those fingers nice and high. Up towards the ceiling or the sky above you. Shoulders nice and relaxed away from the ears, feeling that length along the side body. Now we're going to fold forward. In fact, I'm just going to turn myself sideways on as we do so. So just allowing the hands now just to land anywhere that feels comfortable to you along the ground. And again, you could easily use blocks, pillows, that type of thing. Just provide that little bit more height for the hands if needed. Just to maintain that space across the chest, avoid that rounding of the spine. Maintaining that length along the spine. And then inhaling to lengthen, and exhaling, just keep walking those hands forward to a point at which it feels comfortable for you. So as we deepen into this stretch across the hips, across the inner thighs, and again, pressing down through those outer palms, elbow creases reaching up, curling round, upper arms curling away, rotating away from the body. And just keep millimetre by millimetre walking those fingers out. And just allowing the head just to fall down between the upper arms. So you deepen into this seated forward fold. And just really feel as though you're breathing now into the back body. Creating space between each vertebrae along the spine. Slowly walking the hands back in towards the shins. Back round towards the front. Nice cross-legged position. Let's just move myself back towards the centre. Bang on 15 minutes, not bad at all. I hope you've enjoyed this morning's 15-minute stretch. I certainly have. It's made a big difference to me and for the rest of my day. I hope likewise for you. As I've said in previous days, you know, this is all about raising awareness and donations for some amazing local charities that are doing incredible work in our communities in support of elderly isolation and loneliness, domestic abuse, homelessness, suicide prevention, food banks, young people's mental health. I've been putting posts up all week. I've got fundraising links pinned to the top of my Yoga Dad page on Facebook. So please go and find those. There's just giving pages for each individual charity. There's also a Facebook fundraising page for all of the charities. I think so far we're at about £230, £240 that's been raised over the last 9 days, which is just incredible. And this week I'm shining a light on Julian House. I put a post up earlier this morning on my Yoga Dad page, just talking a little bit more about the work that they do and the emergency appeal that they've got going on at the moment. I'll put some more on around the domestic abuse work over the next couple of days or so. And just final thing to say is all of these sessions are now on YouTube, so they're on my Yoga Dad YouTube channel, so you can watch them anytime, anywhere. And again, I'll put a link up on my Yoga Dad Facebook page so you can find those sessions. And yeah, just encourage as many other people to get involved in these sessions as possible, because it is, quite a commitment from my side to put these sessions on, but I really believe passionately in spreading this message of the fact that these charities are really desperately in need of funding, and so I hope you can really support me with that campaign. Anyway, have a fantastic day, and hopefully see you tomorrow for the final day in the second week of the challenge. Namaste.